Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're back on Warhammer 40K's Games Workshop's Pariah Nexus Episode 3. Looks like this is going to be the conclusion to Pariah Nexus, so we'll do a short discussion about a couple of the major scenes. So spoiler alert, if you don't want to watch the rest of the video, now's the time to turn it off, because we will be talking about some of the scenes in the show, and then at the very end I'll give some of my thoughts on it, and we'll have a good discussion about that. So, alright, let's get into it. So we start off with where we ended last episode, with the battle between the Deathmark and the Battle Sister and Space Marine. And now we're doing it from the Deathmark's perspective, and Illuminator Ceres pops up and kind of complaining that he's not being fast enough in getting this done. So, and he's basically arguing with him, telling him he's trying to do his best. So in the meantime, as he's fighting and trying to talk to Ceres, a lot of the zombie guardsmen show up and start to overpower him, and Ceres just leaves him go, and he tries to escape, but they start to pull him down, and that's how the scene ends. So the next scene goes back to the Space Marine and Sister of Battle, and they're continuing their discussion from before the fight on the civilians and what they should be doing, and they plan on going west towards a rally point to try to get the civilians out of there to an evacuation point. And then it's pretty much shown that the Sister of Battle is talking to the guardsman, but it's not really a guardsman, it's a ghost or image in her head, some kind of guilt or something. So we'll have to see what happens later on in this episode if they expand on that. It then cuts over to a scene showing the Deathmark had gotten away from or destroyed all those zombies. He's very badly damaged. He does a little bit of repairs, but self-repairs, but he can't fully repair. So he's going to try to continue his mission, but now he can't quick teleport anywhere because of the damage that he got. So he's going to have to try to chase his marks on foot now. Next, we're shown a scene where the Space Marine and the civilians are walking ahead. Meanwhile, the priest and the Sister of Battle are lagging behind a little bit, having a private conversation, and it pretty much doesn't go too well, and the Sister of Battle gets pretty angry with him and is about ready to execute him. And as all this is going on, the guardsman starts talking to her, the ghost guardsman that is, and then we have a flashback and shows that she was killed by a Scorpec destroyer, and that basically the whole reason that the Sister of Battle is so angry is because they had lost the battle, and she felt like she didn't do enough, and that because of everything that happened, she blames herself, and that's why she's so upset. And then while all that's going on, it cuts over to the Salamander with the civilians, and they get to the rally point, but it's completely destroyed and there's nothing left. So they make a plan to keep walking west and try to find another spot, another rally point. And in the meantime, while they're talking, they hear the gunshot from the sister, so now they think she might have executed the priest. So before the Salamander can go and react, he then hears some noise and finds out that they've been caught by a Scorpec destroyer, and it starts closing in on them. He tells the civilians to run and keep going west, and he's going to try to take it out, or at least try to buy them some time. Then cuts back to the Sister Guardsman and the priest, and she did not execute him, so she's starting to feel a little bit better about herself and able to get all of her emotions out and put it out on the table. So now she understands that there's nothing she could do, and it's just, that's how it is. So her duty now is to try to just save the people that are still alive and that are still around. At that point, that's when she starts hearing the battle between the Scorpec destroyer and the Salamander, and she rushes off to go try to help him. So the Salamander's getting beat up pretty bad. He's fighting this Scorpec destroyer and taking its toll. He's taking some pretty bad battle damage. Ends up getting his arm cut off and that, but then the sister ends up showing up, helping destroy the Scorpec destroyer, but then he seems like he falls to his wounds and is either unconscious or gone. Doesn't really show, but it just shows him collapse, so we're just assuming that he died. And then the civilians are still there, so the sister becomes more compassionate now, and she says that they're going to continue going west, but as she's giving this inspirational talk, and as she's doing that, the death mark ends up shooting her in the back and basically taking her out. So then as she's laying there dying, she's still somewhat conscious, but the death mark is keeping his attention on her, and then all of a sudden Space Marine shows up and fights him off and damages him pretty well, and he's able to still teleport out of there, but not without taking some pretty heavy damage. So then the Space Marine stays back and says to the civilians that they have to keep moving on because he has to try to take this death mark out, or else none of them are going to survive. And unfortunately the sister didn't make it, and she had fallen from her wounds. So the civilians are on their own and have to try to get to help and hope that the Space Marine takes out this death mark. We then have the death mark contacting Ceres, and basically he's asking for him to help him out because he's too damaged and he's not going to be able to take the Space Marine out. And Ceres is like, well, you kind of failed, so I'm not going to keep wasting time with you. And as they're having this conversation, the Space Marine ends up coming up and taking out the death mark, and then he has a little talk with the Illuminator Ceres, and pretty cool conversation, interesting to see. And that's basically where it ends, and then we have one final scene. And in this final scene it shows some guardsmen. They're out in a forest that must be on the outskirts of the city, and next thing we see one of the children that was from that group all alone, and he's kind of delirious and tired and just out of it. And the way the guardsmen are talking, they think he's one of the zombie people, so it cuts to black and then you just hear them shooting, so it's pretty much implied that they had taken the child out. And that'll do it for the whole Pariah Nexus series. Very good. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty cool seeing the Necron interactions, and then seeing how the civilians are in a war zone, and just crazy and sad at the same time, but that's how war is. But also how the Salamanders are true to their nature, trying to live up to protecting everyone and trying to just save humanity, and also just how grim dark it was with the ending where basically everyone's dead. Like I said, it's not a time you would want to be living in, so the fact that pretty much nobody made it, and just we're assuming the Salamander did, we're not sure what's going on with him, but pretty much everybody, all the main characters in the story were taken out. My only complaint about it is that it's only 3 episodes. Just seems to be a theme with Games Workshop that they don't have long series. I know it's probably costs a decent amount of money to produce these and make them, but I feel like there's not enough in between. I mean, we're going on year 3 now, and I thought there was going to be more animations than what there were for Warhammer TV, but enjoy what we get, so I'm not going to complain too much about it. But that's just my only complaint about it, and it's more on GW and not the series itself. So I really did enjoy it overall, though, and animation was up there. It was very well done, and I enjoyed it a lot, and I hope you guys did too. I hope you also enjoyed this video, and if you did, give me a thumbs up. Also subscribe if you haven't yet. Really would help the channel grow, so I can keep doing this, and we can have a quick discussion about it in the comments if you guys agree with what I said, or if you have your own opinions. Just keep it civil and nice, so, and we'll go from there, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.